Hi, this is Louis Davidson. This is Blogging for Programmers. And today I want to talk about a topic that is kind of fun, and that is making sure the things you believe are true are true. And this is where a lot of people get in trouble. And I made this mistake so many times in my life. It's not even funny. The problem is you have ideas. You believe something to be true. For example, on my board back here, I say SQL is an imperative language. And I could go on for days as to why this is the case, but it's not true. That's the problem. This, not right. Okay. SQL is a declarative language. In an imperative programming language, you tell the system what to do step by step. It doesn't make up things for you. It doesn't take leaps of how to do things for you. SQL is a declarative language. You ask it to do something, and it decides how to do it. It's all like there's layers in there built in, so it'll do it for you. And then you get it back. I mean, you have to work together and design things in certain ways so they fit together, but it's not an imperative language. Now, here's the problem. If you say things that aren't true, it immediately, you lose all credibility with a lot of readers, a lot of people, right? They go, well, if you don't know that SQL is not an imperative language, you don't know, you know, that how a select statement works. You don't know how the group by clause, whatever you're trying to teach them, you don't know anything else because you don't know this one fact that's not a fact. And I'll be honest, I'm the same way. I may have a little more tolerance because I've done quite a bit of tech editing. And I know that people have ideas that they don't quite know. So anytime you're sitting there and you're writing something and you go, I am not 100% sure this is true, look it up. You are not the first person to come up with these things unless you came up with the concept of imperative programming. It's not you. Unless you use imperative programming, the term, daily in part of your work, which nobody does, I hope. That would be a really weird job. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make any difference. But it matters because you're building up credibility. This whole topic today is about credibility. Because if you start stating things are fact, if I say, I think it's an imperative language, but I'm not quite sure, it doesn't matter. If things don't matter, sometimes it's best to leave them out. Unless if it matters and you state it, maybe you get it wrong. I'm not suggesting you're getting everything right. I will say one of the good things about blogging is people are going to give you feedback, and another episode altogether. Okay, so that's simple. Things they're facts. You should look them up. Make sure you know what you're talking about. If you're giving out some code, don't just write some code and not run it. If it's not executable, say this isn't executable. But if you put code in there, if you write a select statement and you write it in such a way that it won't actually run, that's really bad because someone then has taken your code, pulled it down, put it in their system. They've set up stuff to make it work and it doesn't work. That, again, credibility, big time credibility. Okay. And so the first two things have been facts. There are certain things that are called certain things. We want to make sure we get those right. We don't call them by the wrong name. We have code. We have things we put out there that we need to test and make sure they work. Then comes the more complicated part. A lot of people state things as fact that have exceptions. So AI is terrible. It doesn't do anything correct. Yes, it does. It does some stuff correct. Does some stuff amazingly. But it does a lot of things not so amazingly. That if you get right in the place and you tell the truth, even if it's not completely, one way or another, you're not in marketing here. Okay. If you're marketing AI, okay, say it's perfect, whatever. Okay. I'm not talking to marketing people here. I'm talking to people who are talking about the realities of stuff. If there's a bug, you say it's a bug. If it's not a bug, you don't say it. You don't make up stuff. And you don't say things are always true. Every table needs a primary key. Every C# program should be compiled on the command line, right? None of these things matter. If they're not 100%, they're opinions. They may be even very common. obvious opinions. Someone wrote a thing today that said, never use select star. It makes your code brittle. It makes it slow. It uses more memory. And they're true in a certain way. But if you do select star from the table and you have the exact same output as the column list, no more memory is used, nothing is different in terms of performance. It's still brittle. The first one of his statements was correct, but the later ones were not 100% correct. And if I look at that and I know it's not 100% correct, I'm going to turn off and go, I'm not reading this person. If they think that, they probably don't know other stuff, because we don't have that much time. Somebody has enough time to read things that they don't know are at least somewhat true. And some things are arguably true, and that's a different topic. And usually they should be stated that, most of the time, almost all the time, only in extremely rare circumstances should you ever. Great. You should never use this feature. Every feature has a reason. So make sure you're writing in that way so it's clear that you're not, if it's an opinion, it's an opinion. And if your opinion is never even in dev should you ever use select star, fine. You spend your time typing out column names. That's great. And if you can put out a reason and defend it, totally cool. Put that thesis out. And people know it's an opinion. And maybe your opinion makes sense. Maybe your opinion doesn't make sense. There's a lot of things that are opinion, but anything that's supposed to be fact should always be stated as fact, and it should be testable as fact, and there should be no exceptions. Whatever the exception that proves the rule, it doesn't make any sense. Okay. So remember, be as correct as possible. Test anything you can. Don't put out stuff and just say you can do it. This will work. Because sometimes you're wrong. I've done this many times. You've been wrong. I've been wrong. And it's embarrassing. Okay. All right. That's it for this episode. Thank you very much. See you next time. Music plays. Da, 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 da.